God save the King!
Pope Francis wished a happy Easter to everyone, in his last poignant act of devotion that noticed him closely supported with the aid of his aides. Francis, who died nowadays aged 88, delighted the crowd of 35,000 trustworthy at the Vatican on Easter Sunday with an look on the balcony at St. Peter's Basilica. But the pontiff, acting weary and fatigued, wished assist from his aides whilst he sat on the balcony and watched as Archbishop Diego Ravelli studied his Easter blessing to the massive crowd. Aides have been viewed adjusting his papal robes and supporting Francis drink water through a straw as the blessing used to be delivered. He did not have the Easter Mass in the piazza the day prior to this and rather delegated it to Cardinal Angelo Camastri, the retired archpriest of St. Peter's Basilica. Francis left sanatorium underneath protected discharge on March 23 after struggling and contamination that developed into pneumonia in each lungs until now this year. Just 20 hours earlier than the Vatican introduced his passing, Francis took to social media to commemorate the perfect vacation in Catholicism. Christ is risen. These phrases seize the whole that means of our existence. For we had been no longer made for demise however for life, he tweeted. Additionally sharing his full Urbi et Orbi blessing, which his aide had studied aloud at St. Peter's Basilica. Francis's ultimate Easter sermon noticed him name for and quit to the many conflicts raging in special components of our world, and pray that, in this Jubilee year, might also Easter additionally be a becoming event for the liberation of prisoners of conflict and political prisoners. Francis, in his Easter blessing, made a direct attraction to all these impositions of political responsibility, to use weapons of peace, to quit sowing seeds of death. He criticized the great thirst for death, for killing, we witness every day, violence directed at girls and children, and the contempt is stirred up at instances toward the vulnerable, the marginalized, and migrants. On this day, I would like all of us to hope anew and to revive our belief in others, inclusive of these who are special than ourselves, or who come from far-off lands, bringing unfamiliar customs, methods of lifestyles and ideas. For all of us are young people of God, the Pope said, adding, I would like us to renew our hope that peace is possible. He particularly prayed for these impacted by way of conflicts round the world, inclusive of these in Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, a number of communities in the Middle East and Africa, and more. Francis spent his closing hours with faithful, rising to bless hundreds of human beings in St. Peter's Square on Easter Sunday and visiting the piazza in the Popemobile to wild cheers and applause after being discharged from Sanatorium Soli closing month. The Pope had temporarily met with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance for a quick and private assembly at the Casa Santa Marta dwelling in Vatican City until now on Sunday. The Argentine pontiff, chief of the Catholic Church considering the fact that March 2013, spent 38 days being handled for double pneumonia at Rome's Gemelli Sanatorium earlier than leaving the facility underneath protected discharge on March 23. But he resolutely toured through the crowd of 35,000 believers on Sunday after giving the regular Urbi et Orbi benediction and wishing Catholics a happy Easter, and calling for and give up to conflicts round the world. Cardinal Kevin Farrell, the Vatican Camerlengo, introduced that he had died at 7:35 a.m. nearby time, 5:35 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, today. Dearest brothers and sisters, it is with deep sorrow that I should announce the demise of our Holy Father Francis. Farrell in the declaration posted via the Vatican. This morning at 7:35 a.m., 0535 GMT, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, lower back to the home of the Father. His complete lifestyles used to be devoted to the carrier of the Lord and His Church. With sizable gratitude for his instance as a real disciple of the Lord Jesus, we commend the soul of Pope Francis to the infinite, merciful love of God, one and Tribune. Francis's physique will lie in country in St. Peter's Basilica at some point of an respectable mourning period. And then, In distinction to most of his predecessors, he will be buried in the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome's Esquilino neighborhood. The physique will be laid in a coffin in the chapel at the St. Martha House, the place he lived at 8 p.m. nearby time on Monday. The Vatican said.